France beat Wales comfortably in Paris. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. This one turned out to be fairly one-sided, as most people were predicting, but at least fair play to Wales. They didn't just turn up and lay down for France. They made them work for their early scores, and then even when it was so obvious who was going to win, they didn't just let them waltz in for tries either to kind of blow out the score. So Wales, opening minutes, they're actually putting it through the hands themselves. France though contained them easily, and Wales decide to kick. Ramos though returns a brilliant 50-22. France then attacking the 22, making meters, win a penalty for a trip on Antonio, a tip tackle on Antonio. Dupont takes that quickly and dives under the post, but he's held up over the line. Goal line drop out to Wales. And fair play to him, Dupont, he's a hard man to stop. And, when he was diving under there, he thought, he's probably going to be able to get the ball down, but did really well. Rafael then has to come on for Wainwright, and that's a big carrying option gone for Wales. And you already saw in the early minutes that they were finding it difficult to get over the gain line. France then looked for space out wide with Baresi, but Josh Adams puts in a really great hit there. So then they do though work it into 22, and Rafael gets over the ball, wins a penalty for Wales, and he was on the ball for a while before the referee spotted it. I think it was just because he was kind of a little bit on the side of the ruck, and the referee was, I think there was just bodies in between them, and because of where it was, the assistant was too far, or he was kind of on the wrong side, if you know what I mean. And the guy on the other side was obviously too far away. But eventually they do give the penalty to him. Then we have a clever kick from Wales that wins them a scrum in the 22. They move it from the scrum, go through a number of phases before Aldric gets over the ball to win a penalty for France. Wales then passing the ball in their own half. They're standing very deep though. Every time they attack, the guy receiving the ball is 3 or 4 meters back, and he's stood there. He's not even kind of moving forward. And France putting pressure on. Dupont bolts up out of the line, kicks through, and then Baudon almost gets there, a few meters out from the line, but he knocks it on. Wales, they've got a lot of ball, for a period, but there are warning signs from France that, they don't really need much to score. That, France, little bits here and there getting the ball, and you can see they're making more ground than Wales are having the ball for minutes at a time. France now, they've got the Welsh line under siege after some very strong carries. Wales just about managed to keep them out, but then Dupont puts in a great crossfield kick to Atasogbe to score in the corner. Ramos converts from out wide, 7-0. France then come again. Atasogbe with a good break down the right. Ramos brings them back in field. Good carries from the forwards. That ties in the defence. Then they go back right. The lovely fat pass puts Biel over to score, converted for 14-0. Wales then lose Owen Watkin to injury. Dan Edwards on for him to make his debut as well. Didn't look good for Watkin either. I think they said it was maybe possibly a knee injury, kind of fell awkwardly. Could be out for a while. Definitely wish that guy a speedy recovery. Never like to see anyone, having to go off injured. We then have a team review for a head contact. Evan Lloyd, shoulder to head, and it's for Biel. He goes to the bin, goes to review. We then have a France, penalty from that. They kick that to about 10 meters out from the line. The maul goes down, but they have penalty advantage, which you come back for when France were kind of going nowhere. Right into the corner this time for the penalty. Line out doesn't go as well this time, and Wales are able to click a clear, but not that far France come back. Dupont glides through a gap, steps to Liam Williams, and then gives a lovely pass out to Atasogbe for his second and France's third, converted for 21 points to nil. Yellow stays a yellow due to mitigation because there was a second tackler involved. Felt like a fair call from that one. Then sweet rubber kick from Dupont. That forces Rogers to take it over his own line. 5 meter scrum to France. France then try another cross kick from the scrum, but it goes dead, and we come back for a scrum penalty advantage that they had. They go to the corner from that. Mau Vaca finds Ruma, and Wales look to get over the ball, but they're off their feet. Another penalty advantage. They get a warning for the number of penalties they're giving away now. Back to the corner we go. The pack drive it infield, recycle, and Mau Vaca, he goes close. Then they pass it wide to Biari, who steps and then dots it down to score the bonus point try. And a lovely pass as well to put him over. Ramos converts to 28 points to nil at half time. Wales then start the second half with decent, attack, gets them, right into 22. Best move they probably produced for the whole game. BLBRE then intercepts as they go wide right, and he thinks he's going to go the length of the field for his third try, completes hat-trick, but it's called back because France were offside. Wales kick to the corner. France halt the Welsh maul, and Wales go to one-out runners. France defence, though, pushing them back before they force a knock-on. They then win a penalty at the scrum, and they kick clear. France bring on, I think it was 6 of the bench all at the same time, including being able to take Dupont off and put him in cotton wool for the next game against England. We then have no clear release from Wales at the breakdown, and France are able to kick to the corner. Marchand hits his man, set them all. He sits in at the back as they drive over, and he scores. On a replay, and it was only replayed once, there was a suspicion he might have actually lost the ball as he was trying to dot it down. But as I said, we only saw the one replay, and then I think the French director went to some kind of artsy angle somewhere else to make sure that the TMO didn't spot it maybe. But the try is good. From here then, conversions missed by Ramos, 33 points to nil. Wales then, they've got a period of possession. Nicky Smith carrying well, a couple of breaks from him, but then the move does break down. But France actually knocked the ball forward as they were looking to turn it over. So it's a scrum to Wales. They're on the edge of the 22, but they just can't find the space, and lack of cutting edge. They decide to kick, and it's poor France then. They were just looking comfortable in defence as they've done for most of the game. You then have a croc roll from Elliot D on the edge of the other 22. That allows Ntamack to go to the corner from the penalty. Wales deal with them all better this time, and they force a knock-on. France then come forward from a penalty, and was marched forward 10 metres because Josh Adams was complaining about a high tackle that wasn't given against him. In fairness to him, he did have a point about the fact that it probably should have been a penalty for high tackle, but the way he went about it, he was always going to get marched back. And I think a little bit of frustration as well from Wales that there was a lot of 50-50s that they weren't getting, but when things aren't going your way, they're not going your way. France then work it into the 22 for cross kick finds Gayetan. He scores in the corner. Conversion missed by Lagaric, and it's 38 points to nil. Then have a TMO review for shoulder to head on Ben Thomas by Ntamack. He's off to the bin, and there's an off-field review for that as well. Not looking good for him at that time. Wales kick it to the corner from the penalty, go off the top of the line out, get held up in the tackle, and then there's just a round of handbags as Wales' frustration kind of boils over. We then hear that Ntamack's card has been upgraded to red. No mitigation, no attempt to wrap. just a very dangerous situation. And again, I think that was another correct decision there. Freddie Thomas then, shortly after, he goes to the bin for Wales, and France work it back up to the Welsh line. Some really committed defence, including stopping Colombe from very short range, but then Aldrit, he gets low and drives over to score. Conversion missed, 43 points to 0. Then Wales are looking for some kind of consolation score. Jack Morgan does break down the right wing, but the ball gets knocked on, and that's it. 43 points to 0 is our full-time score. Okay, so let's have a look at the stats. Let me pull them up on the official website here. Just give me a second here. Okay, so we're going to start. Okay, so first of all, possession was 50-50 between the teams, but and then territory 54-46 in favour of France. But again, Wales, they had periods, with the ball, kind of in that space between the 22 and kind of the 10-meter line, but just couldn't get further forward for the most part. Attacking minutes then 15 for France, 18.7 for Wales. Again, Wales having far more of the ball in terms of trying to get over the gain line is the main thing, right? Tries scored in 7-0, carries 140 to 158, meters carried 671 to 792, meters gained though 426 to 406. So you can see Wales carrying 120 meters more than France, but actually gaining 20 meters less. And that was all to do with how deep they were standing. So, guys were once it got to the third or fourth pass, the guy is 10, 15 meters behind the gain line. He carries for maybe 8 or 9 meters, but they still haven't gained any meters from it. So, they've got to play flatter, I think. Line breaks then 8-5. Defenders beaten 26-11. Total passes 146-233. And offloads 13-5. Handling errors 16-14. And turnovers conceded 15-13. So in terms of handling and stuff, kind of even between teams, but just the cutting edge again was really with France. Next on to kicking. So kicks in play 28-26. And again, France always kind of up there around high 20s into the 30s with kicks. And people are always saying, oh, don't like kicking and blah, blah, blah. But every time the teams that are most exciting to watch, that run the ball really well, actually kick a lot and kick for a lot of meters as well. They're good at it. They've got, and they're not just kicking for the sake of it. They're kicking to create positions that then they can run the ball from. And France, as usual, did that very well. And you can see in their kicking meters, 881 to 621. So even though just 2 more kicks than Wales, they kick for 160 meters, 260 meters more than them. Then it says 50-22 is 0, but that's not true because Ramos kicked a lovely 50-22 in the game. So certainly some of these stats maybe not updated properly yet. On to defense then. Tackles made 187 to 188. Tackles missed 11 by France and 26 for Wales. So France 94% is excellent, for test level. But again, it comes back to the lack of cutting edge from Wales in attack as well. A lot of those tackles were very comfortable for them. 88% for Wales is decent. Onto discipline. Penalties conceded, just 3 from France. I think it was 1 for a lot of the game. And then 12 for Wales. 12 isn't the worst, but Wales were on a warning twice for the number of penalties that they're conceding. Free kicks then 2-0. Just trying to think. I thought Wales conceded a free kick at a scrum. Then what else we got? It's just splits them up. Offensive penalties 1-4 and defensive penalties 2-8. So either way, you could have, it was like a 4-1 difference between the teams. Then yellow cards. Had 2 yellow cards for Wales, right? And then one red card for France. Okay, next then, let's have a look at the breakdown. So Rooks won 102-125, and Rooks lost 1-3. Percentage of Rooks under 3 seconds. So 56% for France, at 65% for Wales. So Wales, with a higher percentage under 3 seconds. But again, it doesn't really matter if you're getting out of the ruck quicker and then you're passing it back 3 or 4 meters and he's passing it back 3 or 4 meters, because any advantage you had from the quick ball is gone already. And then 4-6, 32-28, and over 6 seconds, 11-7. Breakdown steals 2-1 in favour of France. Mauls won 10-2, and Mauls lost just 1 by Wales. So France, much better in the maul, as if you had to watch the game, it would have been pretty obvious. Scrums won then, 5 for France and 9 for Wales. And then 1 scrum lost by France and none by Wales. Lineouts 14-7, 1 lineout lost each, and no lineout steals for either team. So again, like the lineout, maybe one of the better areas for Wales, but it certainly wasn't fantastic. Kicks at goal then. Let me see what we've got here. Basically, we just have 4 successful conversions, 3 missed conversions from France, and no other, nothing really other than that happening for the thing. We don't have any player stats, unfortunately. Would have been nice to bring you some of those. Maybe I can find a different site that will have some for later on in the tournament. Other than that, I definitely will, be doing player stats at some point during the tournament, as I do every year. Now, let's talk about the team. So first of all, the winners, France, looked impressive with ball in hand. Eventually, they got on top in the scrum as well. It was kind of even a bit at the start. Lineout was okay. Defense, very comfortable. Dupont, excellent as always. Atasogbe and BLBRE, took the tries well and were lively on the wings. Back row, looked really good, especially Baudin and Aldrit. And then both Mauvaka and Marchand, the 2 hookers, were standouts. And, overall, a decent performance from them and a good win. Bonus point, perfect start to the tournament really from them. The one worry is that potential ban for Ntamack after that red card. I think he will get a ban. Probably, probably going to miss, probably not the rest of the tournament, but maybe, 2 or 3 games, I think. Wales then looked blunt in attack, way too deep. Got to sort it out. You can't be the passing is other than they're getting as I said, they're getting the ball out of the ruck quickly, but the passing across the line is too slow. They're too deep. There's not enough disguise on the passes. There's no real I think you could count on one hand the amount of times you actually saw dummy runners being anywhere near effective for them, anything like that as well. So a lot of work to go into that attack to make it any way any way kind of effective at all at this level. As I said, way too easy for France to defend against them. Had parity in the scrum early on, but it did kind of go against them, later on in the game. Then line out, not too bad, and put in some real effort, and defended well at times. The France were going to get over for the scores, but Wales at least decided that they weren't going to, let them just waltz over. And, fair play to them for that, because, we've seen teams before. We've seen Italy before, when things go a little bit bad against them, the heads go down and it's a blowout score. But Wales were determined for that not to happen. And yeah, keeping the heads up, they never dropped. But the thing is, they never really posed any threat to France either. And you feel like, there's a lot of improvements that they've got to make if they're going to avoid another wooden spoon this year. Okay, so that's the end of that. So let me know what you thought down in the comments.